welcome to a very special episode of the Let's Get Vulnerable podcast. And I'm so excited because this episode is also on YouTube. So if you prefer to catch up on your podcasts on YouTube, I know that's a thing, and you want to see my face and get the full experience of the Let's Get Vulnerable podcast, we're on YouTube, Dr. Morgan TV. And I'm so excited. This is an episode to prepare for it. I was listening to some Ariana Grande, God is a Woman. I have on my pink fuzzy sweater. And guess what? We could only be talking about one thing with that, right? We are talking about feminine energy. And what is feminine energy? And I want to talk about how past relationship trauma can actually get in the way of stepping into your feminine energy. So, before we get going, some of you might be like, what in the heck is feminine energy? I know that was me in the past. I used to think it was kind of hippie woo woo. What does this term even mean, etc. But I want to explain it in a way so that you understand it, and essentially knowing that feminine energy really matches up nicely with secure attachment. Feminine energy is a lot about being confident and about embodying that which we desire to attract. Feminine energy is a lot about the internal game. So, allowing ourselves to go internal to check in with ourselves and know what we really desire. Using that internal guidance system, if you will. So, traditional masculine energy paradigm that we are faced with constantly in society talks a lot about do more, achieve more, push. When you do, then you will have, and then you will become what you desire. The feminine energy flips that and is this idea that we can embody that which we wish to attract by identity shift and being the essence of what we want to bring into our lives. So, stepping into our own power, going internal, allowing what is meant for us to come to us by getting into that attractor energy, matching up with the frequency with what you want to attract. So, I know if you've never heard this, you're like, what the heck? This sounds like a bunch of woo woo gibberish. But I want you to think about it this way. When we are dating and we are push, 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 going on all the dates, trying to set timelines of, okay, well, you better propose to me within a year. That's all the time I'm giving you. And if not, I'm moving on to the next. When we do that and we're putting the pressure on, we're actually pushing away people in our life. We're trying to control instead of, I've talked about in previous episodes, secure attachment is that open palm, right? I talked about if you have an open palm and you put the bird food in your palm that the bird is going to like, and it can come and it can hang out, and then it also has permission to leave, right? It's the open palm, but you build that secure relationship and the bird likes the food you have and it keeps coming back, and pretty soon, hey, you have a loving, healthy relationship. Whereas anxious attachment or trying too hard, even sometimes being in that masculine energy, trying too hard to either trying too hard to be chased, which is avoidant attachment, or trying too hard by chasing, which is anxious, being in that energy of trying too hard, we're either squeezing that bird and we're suffocating it and it never wants to come back, or it's coming and then we just push it away and we reject it, right? So, this secure attachment, this feminine energy of open palm, and it's that trusting of what is meant for me will stay. And that as I show up as my authentic self in dating and in life, I attract what is meant for me. It lines up with me. And knowing this, what we have to do is be aware of when we're getting out of that energy. So, thinking about, okay, if I notice myself trying to control, trying too hard, pushing, setting timelines, chasing, how can I allow myself to realign with secure attachment, to realign with my feminine energy and step back into my power? Because you are in your power when you are acknowledging, hey, when I show up as me, when I don't try too hard, when I allow release, when I'm playful, when I'm loving, when I'm open to receive and to give love, that is when the relationship that is meant for me comes and stays. Not when I'm trying so hard, when I'm trying to be perfect, when I'm trying to send just the right text message, right? So it's all about being able to catch yourself when you get into that energy of, oh my gosh, I'm trying too hard, or oh my gosh, I just need this to work out. Anytime you're saying, I need this to work out in order to be happy, that's a sign that you're probably out of your feminine energy. You're no longer trusting, you're no longer allowing, you're no longer just attracting a magnetic pull towards yourself of what's meant for you. Like, you are out of that. So you need to be able to be aware of it. So, what I wanted to do a little deep dive into just briefly here actually is how past relational trauma can actually get in the way of being in our feminine energy in the same way that it gets in the way of secure attachment. Because if we've experienced past where we've had abandonment, we've experienced neglect, we've had chronic emotional invalidation, or even abusive relationships or relationships that were damaging in some way, what happens in those dynamics? When there is relational trauma, you learn to go into trauma brain, AKA fight or flight mode, and you learn to be constantly on alert. And when we are on alert and we're in that place of, okay, what do I need to do? How do I navigate this situation so that I'm not abandoned? I'm not hurt? What do I need to do in order to avoid pain? Notice how that's a lot of doing. That's a lot of being on alert. And that takes us out of the energy of, okay, I can relax in love. I can be confident. I can have trust in myself. I can go internal and I can trust myself and know what I need. Past relational trauma oftentimes will make it hard for us to fully trust ourselves, whether there was invalidation from a caregiver. So then we internalize that. So we struggle to validate ourselves. Or if there were times that you were in dynamics that were unhealthy, and for whatever reason, you blamed yourself for those dynamics. So you are faced with the task of learning to trust yourself, learning to heal that relationship with you so that you can turn inwards, you can go internal, and it can feel safe and it can feel good, and you can have that level of trust with you. That is part of the precursor to switching into feminine energy. because I will talk so often with these highly successful women who have every single area of their life figured out. They have great careers, they have great family life, they have awesome friendships. Some of them are traveling the world. They're doing all these amazing things. And then they say, but for whatever reason, I just can't figure out my romantic life. And I'll talk with them and they'll tell me how they're going about dating. And I can realize pretty quickly that they're taking the same achievement, go, do, push, timeline, goal, strategy, super masculine energy, and they're applying it to dating. And they're not doing that intentionally, but that's the way that they learned to be, right? And when that feels safe, when the control and the productive and my identity being wrapped up in my achievement and myself proving that I'm good enough, when that feels like safety, there has to be an intentional shift to step into feminine energy, to step into the allowing energy, to step into the attracting energy, so that you're not always the one doing all the work in the relationship. You're not making all the plans. You're not doing all the communicating. So many of these women that have that, masculine achievement, I can do it all energy, they end up attracting partners who are not real partners, who are not reciprocal in the relationship. So, in order to attract the relationship that you desire, part of the task at hand is learning to heal that relationship with yourself first and then allow yourself to also step into the feminine energy, which, as I said in the very beginning, resembles a secure attachment style. Okay. I hope this was helpful. I hope it brought some thinking to you, at least some things to think about. And if it resonated, I would highly encourage you to apply to the ESL program. We are at the end of the month here, and I know that spots are incredibly limited. So don't miss out on your spot in the program. The link is available here below, and it's also in the show notes. And you all know that I put all this content out because I genuinely care about you and I want to help you. And one of the ways that you can give me a small thank you back is by leaving a 5-star and written review on Apple Podcasts. That's what helps the podcast be found. So go leave a written review if you haven't done so yet. That would mean a lot to me. It's Let's Get Vulnerable podcast, anywhere podcasts are aired. Leave a written review. And of course, I am wishing you high self-worth and great relationships. I will talk with you soon.